Hey guys, and welcome to the DIY channel. That's the Dan's Investing YouTube channel, where hopefully after watching these videos, you too can do it yourself when it comes to investing. So this is video number 2. I uploaded the other day video number 1, and oh my gosh, how hard is this to do? Just to find like a good flow, to start talking and not say like, watching that video, it was difficult to watch, we'll just say that. But if you want to check it out, go ahead and click on the link down below. I don't even know how to do that yet, but hopefully that'll motivate me to figure out how to do that. So when a few more of these videos get uploaded, it'll be easier. You can check out some of the old stuff I've done if the topic is relevant to you. And if not, you could just laugh at me for how crappy my videos were when I started out. So anyway, let's get right into it. This is a channel about investing that hopefully simplifies it, that you could do it by watching these videos. So video number 2 is going to talk about topic number 1, because the last one was an introduction, and that's going to be not even that exciting. Video number 2, and you're going to talk about debt. But yeah,
Debt.
Rule number 1 with investing is before you invest money, pay off your debt. At least most of your debt. I'll give you 2 passes. We got to go mortgage. I'm a realtor. I also too believe that you are using leverage. I can post another video later on that explains exactly why a mortgage is good debt. And also too, why not to pay that off sooner than later and just ride that out for whatever the length of the term is. Number 2, student debt. Depending on your occupation and what you went to school for, you might have some opportunity of a debt forgiveness program. You might get a better return investing that money than to try to pay that off sooner than later. But outside of those 2, any other debt that you have, you want to attack it aggressively, eliminate it as soon as possible. It's so easy once you don't have debt to watch your savings just start accelerating, and then you can start investing and you can build your portfolio, and it becomes addicting, motivating, and it's all great stuff. But don't do investing until you have your debt eliminated or you have control of your debt. So in this video, we're going to be talking about debt. We're going to be talking about loan amounts, interest rates, any tools that are out there that could help you out, and also some of the tips that I wish I would have got early on so I could have eliminated my debt sooner than later. But video number 1 was so rough to watch. Even just walking around my kitchen for 5 minutes and then sitting on the patio for 5 minutes, I feel like if I just sit on my couch and speak to the camera, it's not going to be that entertaining. It's not going to be exciting, and you're probably going to go somewhere else. I would. So this time, I'm going to take you to work. Let's go check it out. I got a flight in like 3 hours. I'm flying back to the East Coast. I have a rental property over there. It's been almost 2 years since I've been inside the property. I just want to make sure that everything is as is, minus normal wear and tear, and that it's all tip top before the next tenants move in. So I thought, hey, let me bring you along for the ride. Maybe we'll go check out an airport. We'll go do some flying, and maybe it'll make this more exciting. Again, this channel is about any and all things investing. I do believe real estate is a great avenue for investing. Being a realtor, I can give you more of an inside scoop on real estate, such as property management, landlord, and kind of crank some of the numbers that I got going on. But we will be talking about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, CDs, T-bills, anything that you can do with investing will be discussed in this channel. But since I'm currently dealing with this, why don't we do that? And we'll talk some property management, we'll talk some landlording. Hopefully there's not too many repairs, or we might get into some home improvements, but we can do that along with the debt. And then maybe you got debt, you got real estate. Maybe this will be an enjoyable video. So let's get right to it. Hey guys, I'm on my layover in Denver. I practically have the airport to myself. Hello. So I figured I'd knock out a quick video and give you guys tip number 1 on eliminating debt. So what you need to do is grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and go ahead and start writing down every debt that you have that's outstanding. Write down the loan amount and write down what your interest rate is. If you don't know what your interest rate is, shame on you. No, but get on the phone, check it out online, go ahead and figure that out, because to tip number 2, you're going to need to know what your interest rate is and what your loan amount is. And we're going to talk about something that's kind of controversial. So stick around, check it out, and let's get you to eliminating your debt. Does the background look the same? I'm still in Denver. Flight got delayed, but instead of getting upset, I figured, hey, let's go ahead and make another video. So we're gonna come at you with tip number 2, and that's gonna be, you got your pen, you got your paper, you got your loans, you got your interest rates, you got them all in order. Let's go ahead and how do you eliminate your debt? There's a gentleman out there, David Lawrence Ramsey, better known as Dave Ramsey. He's the author of The Total Money Makeover, which is an accredited book about eliminating your debt. And he talks about one specific example called the snowball effect. And it's taking the loans that you have and you stack them based on the least amount to the highest. You make the minimum payment on each one, and then any excess cash that you have, you put towards the smallest amount. Once that one gets paid off, you move just up the ladder to the next one, so on and so forth. I did a little research. Harvard School of Business did a study on this. They said there's a lot more involved, such as human nature and the psychology behind it and the reward that you get by paying off these small loans, that it is motivating to keep you going, and that it's not something that you start and then, you know, a week later you kind of go like, and you kick it to the wayside. But to take human emotion out of it and do his same snowball effect, but just categorize them differently, I think is a better option. And again, it's all about paying off your debt sooner than later. And the best way to do that, if you crunch the numbers, is by doing this. You stack them, but you base your stack off of the interest rate, not the loan amount. And you go from highest to least. So it's kind of like going backwards. So instead of the snowball effect, we'll call this one the fire square effect. You're doing it based off the interest rate, and you don't care what the loan amount is. So if you got a loan for $1,000 or $10,000, it doesn't matter. What does matter is what your interest rate is. So you got a 22% credit card, you got a 7% auto loan, you're gonna attack the credit card at 22%. Once you get that thing paid off, then you can fire square it until the auto loan, and then you just go and you run down the tiers. And again, if you crunch the numbers and you do the math, it's actually more beneficial to do it this way. I know it might not be as motivating to know that your debt got paid off sooner than later, but who knows, maybe your 22% is actually less than your car loan anyway. That's tip number 2. Hang around, we're gonna keep these rolling. Hopefully not too many, because my flight should take off soon. Please, all right, see you guys soon.
This one?
Hey guys, I made it to the East Coast and I am at my first pit stop. It is not my rental property. It is a place where you can make a phenomenal investment, and that is by investing in a Wawa hoagie. It is delicious. It's a phenomenal investment, and I highly recommend one. No, I'm just kidding. And all jokes aside, I did want to do a quick little video and explain about some of the ways I invest even while traveling. So to invest, you need capital. To get capital, you need income. To create income, you need a job. And the only way that you can increase that income is by either working more hours, finding a higher paying job, or by cutting back on your expenses. So I live a pretty frugal lifestyle, and I thought maybe I could give you a couple examples on how I cut back on my expenses even while traveling for business. First and foremost, I had to find a flight. So I looked online, I found the cheapest flight, and I booked through Frontier Airlines for $70. It got me from California to Pennsylvania. I don't know how. The next one in line was American Airlines at $203. The way I see that is by booking through Frontier, I'm saving more than 65%. So sure enough, I did. I proceeded with caution. My wife even dropped me off last night for the red eye, and she went Frontier. I didn't even know they still existed. I did make it from point A to point B just fine. So I had to rent a car. The cheapest one they had was $22 less for the 3 days that I'm here than the next, and that was through Payless. I thought they were a shoe store, but apparently they rent vehicles too. I had a pretty smooth transaction. It does smell like cigarettes in here, but hopefully after my 3 days, it'll reek of hoagie. I shop on a budget, even though these are all business expenses that are all deductible. I'll maybe post another video on exactly what deductible means and how that doesn't mean it's free. Doesn't mean I can fly first class. Poof, that ticket disappears. It reduces your income by adding an expense, but it still is just a deduction on pretty much whatever your federal tax bracket you're in, along with your state, FICA, all that good stuff. Another video, another time. I'm going to head to the rental property. I'll fire up a video over there, and I want to talk a little more about debt consolidation, maybe who would benefit from it, and why not you want to try debt consolidation. So just arrived at the property, and I thought this could be a fun one. When you give your mother the keys to your property, and she gives you 3 different ones in return, that none of them work to unlock any of the doors to your rental property, you go to plan B. I found one window that thankfully the tenants forgot to lock. So we're going in, but it happens to be right above the crawl space. And come on, right above the sink. Ay, ay, ay. It looks good in here. Ooh. We're doing it. I told you guys are coming along with me. This is a typical day. There we go. We made it. Made it through the window. I am ecstatic right now. Now that I have access to the unit and walking around. Oh man. It's just, what a relief. This is why you have to have good procedures in place during your screening process. Because when you get great qualified tenants inside your units, you get units that look like this when they move out. It literally, I feel like it looks better than before they moved in. The only negative I can see in this place is that it looks like probably where they had a painting or a picture hung up, they put some spackle on the wall. So some minor sanding and some touch-up paint. With my units, I always leave the extra paint in the garage, somewhere in the unit. That way, during move-in, if the movers scuff the walls, it allows the tenants to go and do the touch-ups to keep this place looking as new as possible. And I feel like when you have the ability to do that, you keep it nicer, you treat it nicer, and then when you go to move out, you literally have no excuses to get this place back to the original state it was in when you acquired it. So this looks awesome. The fact that they didn't do that, but they've paid rent on time, they communicated extremely well, and they just seem like great people. I have no problem. I have the time now that there's nothing else that I have to deal with, that to do some touch-up paint and a little bit of sanding, completely fine with. I also like doing it too because there's a couple little tricks you can do when it comes to feathering with paint. That way, if the paint that's been on the wall is slightly faded, or the paint that's been in the can isn't the same color that it was when you opened it, 2 to 4 years ago, there's some tricks that you can do to make it blend in so that you don't have these hard cut lines between, this bright paint or this old one. The contrast just isn't there. So I always check anywhere where you have a water source, because that's usually where there's water, there's damage, and it's gonna cost you some money. So I have the sinks, I have one in the kitchen, one in the bathroom. Underneath the vanity looks completely fine, and underneath the counter in the kitchen looks dry as a bone. Your washer dryer area, completely dry. Always check the toilet. Make sure that it's snug and secure on there and you don't have to replace the wax ring. And also too, that maybe if it got clogged and overflowed, there could be some damage on the subfloor that they dried up and it's not noticeable, but you want to go check it out. Baseboard looks fine. The colors are still the same. So everything looks too good. But yeah, so I don't know if you can tell, but I'm extremely excited. Less work for me to do, which is great. It gives me time that now that I'm here, I could probably hang out with some family and friends. And then tomorrow I'm meeting up with the new tenants just to go over the lease, any questions they might have, and to make sure that we're all on the same page on what my expectations are from them and what their expectations are from me. So this is all good stuff. I'm super stoked. And yeah, if you have any questions or you want to know the procedures on how I go about screening tenants to find such qualified tenants, go ahead and put it in the comments down below. I promise I will read all the comments that you put down there, and I will reply. Any advice too, or things that you like to do, feel free to throw it down there. I will give you some advice. Don't let your mother hold your spare keys to your rental unit. I should have took a set with me back home. I just felt like in California, what good are they? But I always bring my lease back with me. I have a printout of that. I have my checkbook so I can deal with the security deposits, any maintenance expenses that might need to take place. I'll definitely go get an extra set of keys that I will bring to California in case my mother forgets where she has placed her son's rental property keys. Come on, Mom. She's such a great lady. How does she forget that? If you got any information from this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to see the third video, which has to outperform 1 and 2, go ahead and click the subscribe button. That way you're notified when I post one. And if you have any editing tips on how to be faster, things that you think are cooler, maybe different views or angles that I should try, go ahead and let me know. We'll get back to debt in the next video, and I'll do some more recordings, maybe have some fun in the airport on our way back to California, and then finalize our conversation about debt. It is really early in the morning in Pennsylvania, and I am returning a car to head to the airport to fly back to California. But we are here to talk about debt consolidation. When should you use it? When should you not use it? In summary, is where you might have outstanding loans that all get consolidated into one easy monthly payment. Who should not use debt consolidation? Anybody where the debt that you have outstanding is more than 50% of your income. When you set these up, it's usually not beneficial for you. The cost to acquire it can actually exceed the benefits that you would save in a slightly lower interest rate. Who should use debt consolidation? Anybody whose debt is less than 50% of their annual income. That's how debt consolidation works. Is, let's just say you have 4 credit cards. You're paying anywhere from 15 to 30% interest on those credit cards. What happens is a company could step in, pay off all of your loans, and then refinance those into one monthly payment at a lower interest rate, anywhere from say 7.5% to 15%. What that does is it cuts your expenses by 50%. So that is extremely beneficial. You would use a company like that if your payments were going to be anywhere from a year to 3 years before you could have those completely paid off. With that said, there are other avenues or tricks and tips that you could use to do a debt consolidation without having to pay a company to do it for you. Such as, let's say your credit score is really good. What you could do is go and apply for a credit card that offers a 0 interest rate for 12 months. And if you knew your debt was so small, or you did everything we talked about earlier, and you set everything up, and you knew what your income was and what your expenses are, and you could calculate that your debt could be paid off within 12 months, then say you have even on the low side, a 15% interest rate on a credit card. So that guy came knocking on my door because I was sitting in the car rental spot, and he said, if I don't leave now, I'm gonna miss the last shuttle to the airport. So he interrupted my video, and now we gotta do it again, but we're gonna finish up where we got interrupted. And that was talking about balance transfers to credit cards. So there's a lot of credit card companies out there that offer a 0% interest rate for the first 12 months if your credit is worthy for it. Some cards do charge a 3 to 5% balance transfer fee, which still could be beneficial if you are paying that 15 to 30% interest rate. But if you shop around, you could probably find a company that's willing to waive those fees to do a balance transfer for you. In this scenario, you definitely want to take advantage of that if you know that you can have your debt paid off within that 12-month time frame. If not, you're just delaying the inevitable, and you're probably going to rack up an even higher interest rate. So again, if you ran the numbers, you did the calculations, you know that you could have everything paid off within that 12-month time frame. This is an absolute beneficial way for you to not have to pay that 15 to 30% in interest, save you a bunch of money within a year's time frame, and get you sooner to investing. Because rule number one with investing is you do not invest until you have your debt eliminated or under control. All right, guys, well, thanks for watching. That's going to wrap up the debt video, and stay tuned for the next video to come.